Toy Story 2 is one of my most played PC games back when I was a youngling. While the game itself is just going around doing tasks and getting some good old Pizza Planet tokens, I believe it holds up pretty well as a collectathon game, albeit with some restrictions in collecting tokens. This game was released on several different consoles, which include the N64, Dreamcast, PlayStation, and computer. There are differences between these versions, which may be from the music to character audio and may be overlooked since I will focus mainly on the PC version with some gameplay of the PS1. Additionally, this game, like other movie games, do include cutscenes from the film that due to compression and low quality videos do not hold up today, but did hold up back when it was first released. I thought it was cool being able to see some of the actual movie scenes as you progress through the game and be able to rewatch the movie clips using Lenny from the main menu. Moving forward, it's time to get into the plot of the game.
So, we meet again, Buzz Lightyear, for the last time.
The game follows the same path Buzz Lightyear and his team of toys did in the Toy Story 2 movie. Buzz watches from above as Woody is taken by Al McWiggin, prompting him to take action to help his friend. He tries to save Woody from imprisonment inside the trunk and nearly succeeds, however fails to account for forces beyond his control and falls off the car. This leads Buzz acting as the main character into leading a team of toys to retrieve Woody throughout the dangerous world of society, where other toys under Emperor Zurg also attempt to destroy them from reaching Woody. As Buzz explores throughout the neighborhood, to the construction zone, and even through dangerous roads filled with traffic to reach Al's toy barn, Woody becomes acquainted with his new roommates and gets a better understanding of his history as a toy. Buzz faces powerful enemies, usually from Zurg's forces, to other enemies such as Slime and even another Buzz Lightyear toy. Due to being locked away by the brainwashed Buzz, he gets separated from the group who thinks brainwashed Buzz is their own Buzz. Once original Buzz escapes, he unwittingly releases Zurg from his sealed box when heading to Woody's location up the hotel. Zurg, now free, goes on a quest of eliminating Buzz Lightyear.
Destroy Buzz Lightyear! Destroy Buzz Lightyear!
Buzz proceeds to climb up the hotel through the treacherous elevator shafts in which the same imposter Buzz led the rest of the group through. Imposter Buzz finds the group's objective of locating Woody and decides to use Rex's big head as a battering ram to break through the vent cover. While exploring the apartment where Woody was taken hostage, Buzz and the rest of the Andy's toys reunite while also embarrassing Buzz Lightyear of Star Command with the good old removal of the helmet, thinking there is no oxygen to breathe. With Woody being adamant of staying with the rest of his Roundup gang toys, Buzz and the rest leave through the vent. In a quick change of events, Woody realizes he did want to continue being Andy's toy despite knowing he would grow up one day and calls back for Buzz, only to be betrayed by the Prospector. Andy's toys make an attempt for the elevator with Woody inside, however are confronted by the almighty Emperor Zurg.
So, we meet again, Buzz Lightyear, for the last time.
It's Zurg!
After Zurg's defeat, the toys head toward the airport searching for Woody. Of course, Stinky Pete attempts to stop the Space Ranger from getting to Woody, even having some henchmen fellow toys fight as well. With Woody on the airplane, the gang go outside onto the terminal to rescue Woody. After defeating Stinky Pete and his men one last time, Woody is saved as well as Jessie from flying away to Japan. Buzz accomplished his mission, but couldn't have done it without his friends and his Space Ranger abilities. Buzz Lightyear has two main attacking moves, his laser and wings. However, as simple as they are to use, the attacks have some complexity in what they can do. The laser attack when fired normally does a small bit of damage which can be spammed to take out low health enemies. For a much stronger shot, the laser can be charged to deal more damage while also changing the color from red to yellow. Additionally, the laser can be aimed in first person mode with a button to help auto aim at an opponent close by. First person mode does have more benefits such as quickly turning the camera around since it's based on where Buzz is facing, opening up new pathways that may otherwise be locked due to being able to aim anywhere and can even auto lock onto locks. And you get to see his beautiful face in this mode as well. The wing attack is Buzz simply spinning around with his wings hitting enemies in the way. The wings can also be used defensively against projectiles which will be deflected upon contact. This includes Copter Robot's blue tornado attacks and bullets fired from Hunter figurines. This even includes non-enemy projectiles such as the falling basketballs in Al's toy barn. If the wing attack is fully charged, Buzz continuously spins around for a few seconds which can allow for multiple hits onto an enemy such as a Zurg warrior. Of course, the drawback with this charge attack will leave Buzz dizzy and defenseless for a few seconds, leaving him open to attacks, but I mean, who wouldn't get confused after spinning around like crazy? Buzz can also first start his wing attack and then jump to hit flying enemies. This works against the blue flying aliens, the vulture, and the copter robot. Of course, if you jump the end wing attack, this leads into another attack where Buzz stomps the ground below him. Stomp is another attack Buzz can use. This ability can attack ground enemies from above and activate buttons which are required to get tokens. While it may not be as easy as hitting moving enemies compared to his wing move, if you know Buzz is going to take damage, you might as well use it to do some back. This game also adds in power-ups identified as power packs such as the Cosmic Shield, Rocket Boots, Disc Launcher, Grappling Hook, and Hover Boots. These 5 are unlocked one at a time when returning a missing piece of Mr. Potato Head. Every 3 levels where once unlocked are unlocked across all levels. The Cosmic Shield simply surrounds Buzz in a blue orb that makes him immune to all incoming damage, which includes the ground and even fire. In this state, Buzz cannot do a double jump, and his single jump is very limited. However, the blue orb does eventually expire, returning Buzz's jump capability. The Disc Launcher replaces the laser move for Buzz, which throws a disc projectile at enemies, encircling them a bit before dealing damage. The attack is very good when not manually aiming, as the discs tend to aim naturally at enemies nearby Buzz. Rocket Boots make Buzz super fast at the expense of some control, however can be useful in covering distances quickly and in making long distance jumps. Grappling Hook helps Buzz reach areas that are too high or far to reach normally by first locking onto a red target, then shooting out a hook flying towards the targeted location. Hover Boots lift Buzz up from the ground to about 2 suitcases height based on the airport level and once reaching the maximum height. The power-up bases itself on the platform below Buzz, which determines how high he can go. If he goes to a higher platform, the Buzz continues to rise. If he goes beyond the elevated platform not only being above the ground, he will drop down into the appropriate height. Travel in the air is possible as long as Buzz doesn't drop lower than the destination's height. There is one more power-up that is generally present in most of the levels, which is the green laser. This replaces the laser and does increased damage, which I believe is equivalent to a charged one based on some testing between Snake and Vulture enemies. The laser can be spammed continuously by just holding the shoot button and can go around shooting in every direction up until the ammo runs out, of course. With all these moves, how does Buzz go about exploring the human world? The levels try to give an impression of real-world objects being bigger than the size or reach of Buzz, such as the couch or kitchen table. In the first level, Andy's house, the boxes shown are sometimes too big to reach just by jumping, or requires some pushing to get into place for a token. Car in the garage is massive and requires some platforming to get onto the hood or roof of the car. The bookshelf or shelves on the wall are hard to reach without the use of other methods such as the couch being bouncy or sliding across a road. Real-world applications such as the stove, boiling water, saws, and drills can hurt Buzz upon contact. In the level Al's penthouse, the bathroom can get filled with tons of water that fills up the room almost to the ceiling if more water sources are turned on. While the water may seem dangerous at first, Buzz can't drown in it nor gets affected by it with his electronic portion, meaning he is officially a waterproof toy. In the construction zone level, Buzz does not get stuck in the concrete mixture that has yet to solidify, making Buzz a concrete-proof toy. I do like how it reinforced the idea that you're just a toy is throughout the game, as it pushes the player into a perspective of how much of a struggle it is to be a toy. I mean, it feels impossible to properly push one button on the claw machine with just this stomp move and trying to perfectly time it 2 times, both X and Y playing, to get this one token. Also, the life bar is presented as a battery, with batteries being spread out across the level for recharging Buzz's life before death. The level format for the game consists of platforming levels that consist of 5 tokens and boss fight levels. For the platforming, one involves collecting 5 lost toys. Some are animals such as a seed from Bo Peep, some are little tykes that have gone lost, and one is rescuing the aliens themselves and returning them back to the mothership. Another is winning a race or a time challenge of sorts. 2 races are against the infamous RC car, who will be impossible to beat in a fair race. Though, of course, there are no rules for physical interference, therefore Buzz has a chance of defeating the toy car. Another race is against a purple alien in the flying saucer, where Buzz has to zipline faster than the saucer can fly to win the race. There are some helpful marks on the ropes to indicate when to jump to the next one. However, if he falls to the floor, enemies will be present and ready to attack the fallen Space Ranger. The time challenges, on the other hand, can consist of collecting 5 objects sorting from dumbbells at an airport for Rocky Gibraltar, to going as fast as possible down the vent that requests a fodder mouse, to running out of a maze surrounding green slime to get a token. There is a question mark token that is different at each level, which may consist of just solving a specific type of puzzle, such as mixing in different colored paints to get another color, turning on a fan and then hanging onto a balloon to get towards a token on top of a trash can, making a train reach a dead end on a track requiring some thinking into changing a track path intersection, or even just jumping on some office cabinets to get to the token on top. Another token is from defeating mini bosses, with there always being one in each platform level. Some are easy to defeat while others may be a bit more difficult to survive against. First one is the tin robot toy on top located in the attic, where all the mini boss does in this one is chase the Space Ranger around until it needs to recharge its energy, thus allowing time to attack back when the robot is vulnerable. Poor robot seemingly has its head exploded when defeated, yet a shrunken down version can be seen on the boxes. Another one is the Zerg kite somehow manifesting a will to live and attack Buzz. However, even its super spin isn't enough to stand a chance in the end. In the construction level, a literal jackhammer chases Buzz around on top of a building being constructed, with no vulnerabilities except being unable to take hits from the disc launcher. In alleys and gullies, a clown top toy is on top of a roof waiting for the Space Ranger. Even another Buzz Lightyear toy on the buggy is a mini boss who is kinda strong, if not for there being a convenient green laser power up nearby, else rockets will be getting launched and targeted towards the protagonist Buzz. Of course, the remaining tokens involve casting out with Ham the piggy bank, who is in every platforming level requiring 50 coins before handing over a token to Buzz. As they say, the bank always collects its dues. However, for some reason, the coins don't just disappear and are still some being kept after getting the token. Guess Ham instead has Buzz as a debt collector, sometimes killing other toys for just 1 coin. Boss fight levels, on the other hand, consist of one-on-one confrontation in a secluded environment, usually with no power-ups. The game formats as every 2 platform levels will have a boss fight after them, with there overall being 10 platforming levels and 5 boss fights. There are unfortunate token limitations if trying to progress with 1 token on each level, as the game will check at boss levels if the minimum tokens have been collected, else it will not allow the boss fight to be accessible to play. Also, the music sounds very good across the board, with each level having its own soundtrack dedicated to it, even the boss fight ones. First major boss fight is against a toy plane that flies over a large fenced yard. The plane will fly towards Buzz with a machine gun firing at Buzz if he is in the shooting path. The plane will then proceed to circle around Buzz, releasing bombs onto the ground during the process. Best way of defeating the flying boss is to hold a charged beam and aim at the boss when it returns from the back of the yard to do another round of attacks. The laser can be used in either first person mode or regular third person mode depending on preference. Also, the plane is still vulnerable to wings and stomp attack, even though it may be a bit more challenging to land given more precise timing is needed. This boss isn't too bad and can be easily defeated quickly once having gotten used to the controls. Once defeated, the plane bursts into pieces and Buzz flies off to the sky. Next boss fight is against a slime monster who resides in the back alley surrounded by trash and cars. This boss requires constant rapid fire from the laser in order to shrink the slime down. Though the slime does indeed shrink back down inside the trash can, it emerges even bigger out of it more than once, indicating it's going to be a fight of endurance and button massing. The monster does throw slime projectiles at the Space Ranger, either requiring to run away from it or bounce it back towards the slime monster. However, it can take a bit of getting used to depending on the distance between the monster and Buzz, and can result in too many hits being taken, leading to Buzz battery depleting. The boss can also jump towards Buzz if the distance is too big between the two, which can be a bit daunting once it reaches a big enough size. Thankfully, when the slime monster reaches its maximum size, a green laser does spawn in, allowing for less button massing and just holding down the laser button as Buzz easily overpowers the slime. Of course, it still requires defending against attacks from the monster. Then, once defeated, the slime monster trash can habitat explodes, resulting in its destruction. Third boss fight is against a giant alien, which has pods containing Zerg's forces inside. This bigger version is exactly the same, just instead shoots a giant green laser directed at Buzz. However, it can be avoided given enough space to run around it. There are also batteries if too much damage has been taken to replenish during the fight. The boss releases a pod each time enough damage has been done, which can be usually one laser to multiple laser hits or a spin attack. The first few pods have one enemy, while the latter ones contain 2 enemies and stronger ones such as a Zerg warrior. Once having lost all of its pods, the boss will no longer allow Buzz such an easy time of hitting underneath itself, as it will descend to the ground to prevent it. However, this opens up for attacks landing much easier, whether it be using the laser attack or spin attack. There is a speedrunning strategy that involves doing a fully charged spin attack and hitting the boss at the end of its duration, where during cutscenes of the pod releasing enemies, the Space Ranger can move move once recovered and get an early advance into attacking the spawn enemies before they can retaliate. After enough damage, the boss explodes into pieces and Buzz flies into space. Fourth boss fight is against the almighty Emperor Zurg. Zurg levitates the entire time, running from Buzz and shooting him with his ion blaster. If yellow balls are sought out, they just aim at Buzz, and if missed, disappear. If green balls are sought out, typically after an attack landed, these will home in on Buzz, requiring him to deflect it with his wings or take the hit. Zurg cannot be damaged by laser, charged or not, which means Buzz has to spin into him to deal damage. The more damaged Zurg is, the more green balls Zurg will shoot out in regular attacks when not immediately damaged. In the PC version only, due to a glitch at 60 frames per second, Zurg is seemingly unhittable, leading to an unwinnable fight where Zurg can move fast enough to never take a single hit by Buzz's spin attack. The only way to have a chance is either to glitch Zurg into a corner of the elevator, and once he is stuck, spin attack jump at him multiple times until he is defeated. Another method is to force the game to play at a lower frame rate or include patches that fixes this glitch. This is not a problem in other versions of the game such as the PlayStation or N64, only the computer version. Once Zurg is defeated, he falls into the abyss of the elevator shaft, never being seen again. Fifth boss fight involves the last 3 mini bosses in the platforming levels: the Gunslinger from Alice Penthouse, the Prospector from Airport Infiltration, and the Blacksmith from Tarmac Trouble. In their own respective levels, these, except for the Blacksmith, are not too difficult to deal with. The Gunslinger can be damaged by lasers easily, and after a few charged shots and some deflecting the bullets fired from his dual pistols, results in an easy victory. The Prospector does not take any damage from laser attacks and instead is damaged through the use of spin or stomp attacks, though it will take some getting used to dodging his pickaxe shockwave attacks. The Blacksmith also only attacks damage from spin or stomp attacks and has the strongest move in the game, where a blue shockwave from his hammer homes in on Buzz for a long distance. Not only is the attack hard to dodge close up, even when jumping, but also it is faster than the Space Ranger. To defeat the Blacksmith, it will most likely result in a good amount of damage being taken to defeat him. In the Prospector Showdown level, all three work together in unison to defeat Buzz Lightyear once and for all. This fight does prove difficult when choosing who to target first. However, some strategies involve taking down the Gunslinger first due to him being the weakest of the trio, or attacking them all at once when they are grouped up with a spin attack while taking the damage. I do recommend having some extra lives for this fight, as it can be quite difficult surviving with just one life. Once they are defeated with all their lifeless bodies lying on the plain floor, Woody and Jesse are free from the suitcase, with Buzz finishing the mission successfully. The game, for being developed back in the late 1990s, is pretty good for a collectathon game. Good amount of platforming levels and enemy diversity, along with multiple mini bosses and main boss fights to keep playing until the end. Of course, the game requires 40 out of 50 tokens to reach the end of the game, requiring some thinking to acquiring them, unless you are playing on the N64, which only requires 30 tokens. It is possible, however, to avoid backtracking if getting every token that is possible during that level without a required feature power-up like in Alleys and Goalies, with just avoiding the ducks and boss tokens. Also, I do dislike not being able to 100% a level because the feature power-up has not been unlocked, which will result in backtracking if going for all the tokens in the game. However, for most levels, it only affects at most 1 token, except for Alleys and Goalies, which affect 2 tokens. The level design is still outstanding given when the game was made, with Buzz being able to get on top of a moving airplane to traverse on top of the terminals around the loop, or being able to somewhat ride a skateboard to race toward an egg with a prize inside. Even just climbing this giant tree in Andy's neighborhood, which may be difficult for first timers due to how much jumping is required to reach the top. I do appreciate that with heights that may be difficult or frustrating to reach again, there are activatable shortcuts which skip most if not all of the journey. This includes a rope for the tree, even though it is a slow climb, to an elevator lift for the construction site, and the air elevators, which can either return Buzz to the halfway point or to the very top of the elevator shaft, depending on which one is used. Since this game is now available on the PS4 and PS5 to be purchased separately from the PlayStation Plus subscription, I would say if you're feeling like playing an old collectathon game that isn't too hard, with some exceptions to getting used to the controller sensitivity, then give it a try. Without further ado, I leave y'all to it.